What's going on, everyone? It's Tay, aka Slay, and today is my 38th birthday. Yes! Thank you to all of you who have already sent birthday wishes. They mean so much to me, especially with everything going on. This is not how I planned to spend my first birthday as a California girl, but I believe in the universe. I believe it balances all things. And when this is all over, I will have a celebration bigger than anything I could have imagined. In my heart, I believe that everyone who has had to cancel or postpone events because of Miss Rona will be repaid threefold. So just hold on, guys. So let's get into today's topic: how I honestly feel about being single at 38. This is not what I imagined. I am one of those women who obsessed about getting married. Like, I had that timeline. I was like, I'm gonna be married by 25. That didn't happen. All right, I'm gonna be married by 30. That didn't happen. At 31, I was in a relationship and we had talked very superficially about marriage, but the relationship ended the same year. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be single until I'm 33, and then I'll tell the universe, nope, I'm ready to meet my person. And on my 35th birthday, I was still unmarried. So when I was 35, I was in a relationship, and that relationship ended 2 months before my 36th birthday and 2 months after the passing of my mother. The reason that relationship ended was the person I was with, who I believed was my person. I believed that we had this grand love story that we were going to tell our children. Well, he ended up confessing that he had been cheating on me the entirety of our relationship, which at that point was 14 months. Right after that relationship, there was a friend of mine who I had been attracted to, but had kept my distance because I was in a relationship, had I but known. After the breakup, I asked him if he and I could try dating, and he said no because he knew I wanted to move to California and he never saw himself leaving New York. And also, he had just started dating somebody who lived out of state. I believe she lived in Rhode Island. And he said he wanted to see how things went with her, only to find out that he later would go on to try, while still in this relationship, try to get with my best friend. So that didn't make me feel good at all. Right after that, I had gone to a barbecue at this dude's house and ran into another mutual friend of ours. He and I spent a wonderful night together. He said he actually wanted to go on a date. It took a month before I was like, hey, when can I see you again? And all of a sudden, he was like, yeah, there's this other girl that I want to date. So, yeah, that's not going to happen between you and I. Also because I wanted to move to California and he didn't want to leave New York City. So I was like, all right, fine. That's just all the confirmation I need that dating in New York City is not going to happen because I'm moving. So let me just not do that at all. Let me just focus on getting to California. That's all I need to worry about. Funnily enough, a month before I moved to California, the second guy after my breakup contacted me, said he missed me, said he wanted to hang out. We spent a wonderful day together. Then a week later, he calls me and is like, hey, this other girl that I knew that I haven't spoken to in 18 months just called, and we've been talking, and it feels like it's going in a romantic direction. So sorry, boo. And I'm just like, why? Why did you have to make it more than it was? Like, if you just wanted to knock some boots, just say so. Just say so. I'm not sensitive. Like, he contacted me about a month later, which was when I was preparing for the move, and I just left that text on read. So when I got here to California, I decided literally right before I fell asleep the first night in this apartment, I said, you know what? No, I am going to stay single my entire first year because I want to get back on my feet. I want to build up my savings account again. I want to get my car. I want to get my license. I want to get re-enrolled in college so I can finish my bachelor's degree. I'm going to excel in my career. Like, I want to make sure that my life is tracking forward and that I'm setting myself up for success before I bring somebody else in. And then around Christmas time, I was like, you know what? Let me take that a step further. I'm just going to stay single and celibate. Just because given my last relationship and the two guys that I dealt with before, I was like, you know what? It's not that I don't enjoy sex. I enjoy sex quite a bit. Sex is incredible. One of the greatest things we get to experience while we're alive is having sex. So it's not that I'm turned off to it. It's just like I want to release all of that energy that has been collected, that I've been holding on to in regards to those three people. So to do that, I just want to just want to stay by myself and let all of that go through celibacy. I posted a joke on Facebook where I was like, you know what? The universe heard me say I want to stay single and celibate all 2020 and was like, I got you, boo. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. How do I really feel about being single at this age? Like I said, this isn't what I thought it would be. I thought that at least by 35, I would have a husband, that I would have at least 2 or 3 children running around, and I don't. It does sadden me from time to time when I think about it, but it's not something that makes me depressed. I know that I can have a very full, very happy, very exciting and fulfilling life, whether or not I have a spouse, whether or not I ever have children. But it'd be nice to have. It really would. This is the second time in my 30s that I've been single. The last time I was single from 31 to 34. So it was about 3 years. And I've already been single for almost over 2 years now. And it's very different. It's a very different feel. And I think that's because, 1, I am older, and 2, I'm being honest with myself. See, when I was single, back when I was 31, 32, 33, I thought that I had to be this single superhero because of all the stigma that's attached to being single after 30. I was like, nope, I'm going to live this amazing life. I'm going to show everybody that you can be single and happy at 30. It doesn't matter, you know, and for a while I did. Like, I had something called a single-versary, which was where I would celebrate my independence as a single woman on the anniversary of the day that I ended that relationship. And come the 3rd year, I was like, you know what? I don't need to do that anymore because I feel like I'm still holding on to the energy from that relationship. Funny thing now is that the anniversary of my last breakup, the 2-year anniversary of that breakup happened in February, and I was down for the count. Like, I was so depressed that entire weekend. It was also Mercury retrograde, which made sense because Mercury retrograde happens to slow you down and to make you look at your past before you can move forward. And one of the things about that past relationship that I hadn't looked at was the fact that that breakup was actually traumatic for me. And I wasn't processing it as trauma. I wasn't allowing myself to heal from it as a trauma. I was actually beating myself up for not being completely over it 2 years later. And one of my followers on Twitter actually encouraged me to treat that day as a happier day. You know, she says, do something with that day that will create happy memories around it. And I hadn't been allowing myself to do that because of how I did it the time prior. I was just like, no, I don't want to hold on to the energy of this relationship. And that creates a cycle. It's like when you're fighting against holding on to somebody, fighting against holding on to something, you end up holding on to it tighter subconsciously. So I was like, yeah, maybe I will next year celebrate a version of the single-versary so I can create a happy memory around it. And I will do that until I feel I no longer have to. I'm being more genuine with my feelings. So when I was single in my earlier 30s, like I said, I was being the single superhero. It's like, I don't need a man. I can look at all this fun I'm having. I'm living it up. I'm spoiling myself. And can't nobody love nobody better than me, which is true. That last one is true. Can't nobody love me better than me. Whenever I would feel any type of loneliness or longing for a relationship come up, I would push it down and be like, nope, nope, nope. We don't need to do that. I don't need to date. I don't need to think about this. We're good. We're good. I would get in my mirror and be like, no, you're good. You're by yourself. That's how you need to stay. We all good. And this time it was like, at the beginning, I felt like I needed to uphold that image. And it was easy to do that because I was so focused on the move. And then when we got here and I was focused on finding a job, that was put to the back burner. Then I got this incredible job. And then as I started settling into a routine, those feelings would start coming back. And I had a conversation with my best friend. I was just like, it's okay to want to be in a relationship, right? I felt guilty about wanting that because I had shamed people about it before. Like, people I knew who constantly got into one relationship after another, like they didn't know how to be alone. I'd be like, take some time. And that's true. I do truly believe that if you do not know how to be happy by yourself, you will not be happy in a relationship, because you could be with an amazing person, but if you make them the source of your happiness, you're going to exhaust them. And that's not fair to do to somebody. So please learn how to cultivate your own happiness within. And that's something that I have done both this time and last time. I've learned to enjoy my own company. This is a little too much because, like I said in my last video, I'm an extrovert. I love being around people. I think the main difference is I'm older, and there have been things that have happened this year, this situation now, certain deaths, certain events that have rocked my world and the world around us that have really made me stop and think, yeah, I really do want a husband. I really do want children. I want a family of my own. That's something that I've always wanted, but I don't think I've always wanted those for the right reasons. I was the girl that always fantasized about her wedding day, but I didn't think of what it meant to be in a marriage. Now, when somebody asks me, do you want a husband? It's like, I want more than that. I want a partner. I want a best friend. I want somebody I can depend on and someone who can depend on me. I want somebody who shares the same values and has the same life goals. Somebody that doesn't necessarily have all of my interests, but isn't going to shame me for the things that I'm into. I know way too many people in my own life who have spouses, but don't have partners. I see constantly online about how this situation is testing relationships. People may be joking or not, but they're like, I don't think I can continue to be with this person all day, every day like this. And yes, people do need their own personal space, but to be like constantly talking about how you don't think that you're gonna make it, it's like, just say you're with the wrong person and go. And that's something else I've noticed is, I was joking with a friend about if I was married right now, I'd probably be one of the people giving birth to a Capricorn at the end of this, because I'd be pregnant. Because I know how my mind works and I know how my drive goes. It's like, hey, it's 5 o'clock. You logged off of work? Let's go. That's just the truth of the matter, y'all. I'm 38 now. It's giving zero fucks. They sent me a message like, that's not how married sex works. It's like, okay, just because your marriage is sexless doesn't mean mine would be. I talked to my roommate about it and he's like, yeah, people are just so eager to throw things away nowadays. And I'm like, no, I really think it's just that people rush in, and people are also afraid to speak up for what they need. Prime example. One of my friends posted a meme about the 5 love languages. I know that my primary love languages are physical touch and quality time, with words of affirmation being right under those 2. And I said, that is really the thing that sucks the most about being single for me. Everything else I can kind of deal with. But the thing that makes it very, very hard for me is the lack of physical touch. I am a very affectionate person. Kissing is amazing. I miss being kissed so much. I miss leaning on somebody and cuddling. I miss all of that. I'm very touch deprived, you know, and I said those things in my comment, and she commented back, it's like, well, married couples can be touch deprived too, with kids and jobs and all of these other things. And I said very plainly, if this is something that's important to one spouse or both spouses, it sounds like something that needs to be prioritized and spoken about. If you need it, if it's important to you, why is it so hard to be like, hey, can you hold me until I fall asleep? Can we go take a walk? Can you hold my hand? Why is that so difficult? Just say what you need. And people are not mind readers. We need to be vocal. If no effort is made on their point, on their end, you've got to be strong enough to be like, no. Another thing for me, and you may call me old-fashioned for this, but this is where I am right now. I want someone to pursue me. Once I've shown that there is interest there, because that's a big thing, a lot of people think that they have to be persistent. Like, once somebody says that there's no interest, back off. But once I've shown interest, I would like someone to pursue me. I realized this year, looking back at all of my prior relationships, that I'm always the one doing the pursuing. I'm the one always doing the work. I'm the one always doing whatever it takes to hold us together. I'm the one who's conformed to being what I think my partner wants me to be. And I'm not saying I want somebody to do that for me. I'm saying that I want somebody to put forth the effort. I want somebody to match my effort. That's never been done in any of the relationships that I've been in. And that is because that's how I saw my parents. We tend to mirror the relationships we see growing up. So I saw my mother sacrificing everything for my father. So I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Like, I gave up dreams and goals because I wanted to either be somewhere, go somewhere, or show my support for the person I was with, instead of thinking of what that would really mean for my life. Everybody's circumstances are different, but for me, it would have been better had I focused on myself at the time. But I saw my mother do that. I saw my mother spend more money on my father than she would ever spend for herself. So my father would have amazing shoes while her shoes were falling apart. My father had top of the line luggage while my mom had hand-me-downs. His needs always came before ours or hers. So I just thought that that's what being in love was. I thought that that's what being in a couple was that the woman always makes more sacrifices. And it wasn't until I was older and in my last relationship, I was like, no, there's reciprocation that needs to take place. I'll give you the example of when it really clicked for me. So I was with my last boyfriend. He was in the Army. He was overseas. He was 13 hours ahead. So we had to schedule the times that we could speak to each other over Skype or WhatsApp or whatever. And I told him, okay, so I can speak to you while I'm getting ready for work at 5 a.m. because you will be free. So let's do that. And I want to see your face. And he's like, all right, fine. So I went to bed, woke up, let him know I got up, sent him a text like, hey, babe. And he was like, hey, I'm at this barbecue. This just happened. My friend is deploying and I want to spend time with him. Now I don't know if that's true. He was probably with somebody else. But I was like, okay, so this barbecue happened. You knew what time I was getting up. You couldn't take the time to be like, hey, babe, this is happening. Let's reschedule our call. Now I get it. This is coming from somebody who's very neurotypical. Somebody who is in a depressed state might not always have the strength to say, hey, I can't talk or anything like that. This person was not going through this, okay, at the time. He was just like, I'm going to a barbecue. Okay, fine. But you still could have given me the common courtesy to be like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make our phone call. Can we reschedule? That's it. That's all I asked. It takes less than 30 seconds to type that and hit send. And I told my mom about it. I wasn't even that upset. And she was like, you're asking too much. I said, what? She's like, you're asking too much of a man. Men will always be like this. It's always 80-20. Somebody's always giving more. And I put my foot down. I was like, listen, just because dad was a piece of shit doesn't mean the man I'm with needs to be. Okay? I'm not, no. You're not going to make me feel bad for wanting my man to be better to me. Period. Like, I'm squashing this in the bud now because I don't want that to become a habit. You never spoke up to say, hey, I would like more. I want you to put more of an effort in. And you thought that that was all you could accept. You thought that that was all you were worth. I know what I'm worth. I'm worth a quick text being like, hey, babe, I'm not going to be able to make our phone call. Let's reschedule for tomorrow morning. The dilemma I'm having is I would love to be in love. I would love to be in a relationship. I don't know how I'm going to get there because the idea of dating, like modern dating, turns me all the way off. Like there are all these extra levels now that you have to go through before getting to commitment. Like people are so accepting of situationships. And if you don't want to be committed, that's fine. But don't go to somebody who tells you they want to be committed and string them along. That's another thing that irks me, especially about dating these days, is again, it goes back to communication. Some people are so afraid to be like, hey, I'm looking for a relationship. I want something serious, that they will just accept these situationships. It's like, oh, we can do all of these things like we are in a relationship, but why do we need labels? The minute I hear we don't need labels, I'm out. I'm sorry. No, I want you to claim me and I want to be able to claim you. And I really feel it does a disservice to people who know in their heart of hearts they want to be in relationships, but they just like, this is all I can get. You deserve more. Please trust and believe you deserve more. There are nearly 8 billion people on this planet. Find yourself somebody who cannot wait to say, this is my person. Hey world, this is who I'm with. Please believe that person is out there for you. If that is what you truly want, fight for it. Don't settle. I see so much settling in my life, in the people around me, people that are married who have asked themselves in front of me if they've settled for their spouse. That's another reason I believe in taking my time now. I feel like if I had taken my time, I wouldn't have wasted so much time. Once this is all over, I don't know how I'm going to meet somebody because I refuse to use dating apps. Because one, I don't want to pay. I have enough bills. I'm not going to pay a service to find love. No shade to those who do. I just do not see that happening for me ever. I just do not want to do it. I was on dating apps for a month the last time I was single. All that did was give me anxiety and annoy me. Because there were dudes who, because I put up pictures of me in cosplay. I don't do sexy cosplay yet, but I put some pictures up of me in costume, and I made no secret of the fact that I am a geek. My handle on Twitter is Grown Geek Girl. And guys within the first 3 minutes of a conversation would want to test my geek gangsta. They'd be like, oh, so you're a geek, huh? Well, how about this? And I got into a full-blown argument about a Green Lantern storyline. Like, okay, here we go. This is how stupid it was. So we were talking about the DCEU, and I was like, if they want to keep making these dark, gritty films, why don't they use I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to butcher it again because I always get two storylines confused. I was like, why don't they use that one Green Lantern storyline where Green Lantern went completely crazy, flew throughout the universe, killing other Green Lanterns, using their power rings to replicate the city that he grew up in that was destroyed. And this guy had the nerve to tell me that never happened. I was like, are you serious? I pulled up all the articles. I showed him the cover. I was like, yes, hell it did. And then he accused me of showing off. One guy got mad at me because I had to explain to him that just because it happened in the movie didn't mean it was canon. Because as much as I love Michael Keaton, he's one of my first celebrity crushes, probably because he played Batman. But I had to tell this guy that just because Joker was the person that killed Bruce Wayne's parents in that movie, that's not canon. Because we were talking and he was just like, yeah, well, you'd be kind of crazy too if Joker killed your parents. I was like, are you referring to the movie? He's like, no, that's canon. I was like, no, it's really not. And he got mad at me and blocked me. I was like, are you serious? And I tried to come back to say sorry because a dude corrected him. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. Let's keep talking. I was like, no. Then you get guys who turn the conversation sexual within 5 minutes. Like, again, I'm very sex positive. But if I'm trying to get to know you, we don't need to go there that soon. There's certain information that I need to know before we start talking the sexy talk, okay? Like, I don't even know, I only know how old you are because it's on your profile, but I don't know, like, I don't know you enough for you to be getting that information from me. You don't need to know what my favorite position is before you know what my favorite color is. Like, I can't. Y'all need to stop. And these are men who are my age and older doing this. Like, it's stop trying to play people. If you just want sex, say that so you can leave those of us who really want relationships alone. I don't want to have to, I know people will tell me, it's like, well, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. I'm sorry. I don't want to have to sift through and swipe right. And also, sorry to say, there are so many studies out there that show and prove that dating apps don't necessarily work for black women. There are men who will tell you, even black men will tell you straight up, I don't want to date black women. So I might find a handsome brother and be like, hey, and he'd be like, no, I don't date black women. Okay, really? Okay. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to be scrolling through and seeing that over and over and over again, which I did when I was on apps before. It's hard in these streets because I am a woman. If you follow me on any of my social media, you know I claim Chris Evans as my husband. It's hard out here in these streets as a black woman, to know, is somebody interested in dating me? And why are they interested in dating me? Am I a fetish? Is it me as a person that they're actually attracted to? Like, it's sad that even with men in my own race, I'm like, does he date black girls? Like, it's something that not a lot of women of other ethnic groups really have to deal with. So there's that struggle there too. I'm open to dating. I've dated men of many different ethnicities, background, skin tones, and have had fun with all of them. I've dated straight men and I've been with bi men. Like, I'm very open, but there's still that struggle. There are days where I will be on social media and I will see that engagement announcement. I recently learned that a friend of mine who is an ex-boyfriend, but he and I are still close, he and his current love are trying to conceive. And that hit me hard. There are those moments like that where it's like, why haven't I been able to find that person that wants to spend their life with me? Why haven't I found that person who wants to have a family with me? Why haven't I found that person that has been able to look at me and been like, that's what I need right here? And thank God for my bestie, because I didn't want to tell him because there are those moments, I'm getting emotional, I'm sorry. There are those moments where it gets really hard and I don't want to talk about it because it does seem silly, but it does hurt sometimes. And he was like, nobody that you've been with has been worthy of going on those adventures with you. And it made me feel good because my bestie holds me in very high regard. And sometimes he remembers my worth when I forget it. And I'm so thankful for that. So let me go get some tissue. I'm human. We are social creatures. We crave companionship. So I have to remind myself that it's natural to feel this way. It's not wrong. It's different from when I was younger, where I would obsess over it, where I didn't feel that I could be happy unless I had someone, and that's because I didn't know how to love myself or maximize my alone time. So I'm in a much healthier place with relationships, and honestly, I think that now I'd be a kick-ass wife. Now I'd be an awesome mom. The woman I was 5 years ago, she was who she needed to be at the time, but I don't think I would have made a good wife. I know for a fact 10 years ago I wouldn't have been a good wife, because I didn't love myself, because I believed happiness was something external. I would have been the person to make my spouse the source of my happiness. It's like, hey, no, you are responsible for making me happy. I'm not happy and it's your fault. And I probably would have been divorced. It's weird, again, because I never pictured myself being 38, single, like never been married, never even gotten close to having a serious conversation about marriage with somebody. So I've never even been engaged, and not having children. Does the thought of never having children scare me? Sometimes. It used to be my number one fear, but it's gotten to the point where I've just realized that it's something that I have no control over. And I know there are a lot of people who will say maybe you should freeze your eggs, but I've done the research. One, that's extremely expensive. That is a lot of money to spend on a maybe. Like, I honestly could buy a house for how much it costs to harvest, store, and implant those eggs. And I'm 38. Like, they say the best time to freeze your eggs is in your late teens and 20s, when your eggs are most viable. So the age of my ovaries would make me less likely to conceive if I use those frozen eggs. So no, it's not an option. Do I want to purposely be a single mother? Not really. I've always been the person who says I want to be a wife before I'm a mother. I have the utmost respect for single mothers, because that is a strength that I don't even know if I have. So I tip my hat to women who do it by themselves every single day. So I am choosing to hold off on that. I'm choosing to wait and see what the universe has in store. I've accepted that maybe marriage and children just aren't in the cards. They're not for everybody. What we want isn't always in the cards for us. And I think we are defined by how we play the cards we are given. And we are defined by how we react when certain circumstances come up in our lives. And I have resolved that if I am never a wife, if I am never a mother, I will still have the most kick-ass life that I can possibly have. So that's where I am with it. That's it for today. Please join me tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time for my birthday live stream. I hope to see you all there. Thank you for being here with me. It means so much to me. I know that there are a million videos you could have watched today. I humbly thank you for coming to Slay. Take care.